What is going on, journalist family? Irvin Felix John with the Fitness Journals, where I provide education, entertainment, and authenticity to the calisthenics game. So look, every day I get hundreds of emails, right? Hundreds of emails, people signing up for programs, and I always ask a question in the forum, right? And the forum where if you're watching this from my free calisthenics program, then you know what it is. What is the number one challenge you're facing with your fitness journey? And people fill out that field, and I'm like, these are really good questions that people ask here. Really, really good points. Why don't I make a video about each of these things, right? So that's gonna be a series. I'm just gonna, every time, like I said, there's endless questions, and I think me answering these, not just to the person, but on video, would help so many people, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna get right into it. Not having enough energy when in a calorie deficit, right? When in a caloric deficit. Now, this is a very common thing, right? A lot of people, they think if I just cut calories, like just cut calories out of nowhere, I don't know how much I'm taking in originally, I don't know what I need for maintenance, and they don't have there's no data, right? So they just think if I eat less, I'm gonna get shredded, I'm gonna get muscular, whatever it is. That's not the case, and you have to be mindful of how many calories you're cutting out and the time frame that you're cutting them out, right? You can't, if you're eating, let's say 2,000 calories a day, for example, right? And you need maybe 3,000 for maintenance. Yes, your energy is gonna be low. Like if you just cut out 1,000 calories like that and you're accustomed to eating 3,000, you're gonna be hungry. And number one, not all calories are created equal. Like you have to know the macronutrients, you have to know like the value of the calories that you're getting, the quality of the calories that you're getting. Yes, calories, potential energy stored in food that your body uses to do work. That's what calories are, right? And calories is what your body uses to do work. Now we actually have to think of the health, the long-term aspect, the nutrients that we're getting from these calories. That's what you have to keep in mind. Because look, anything that you eat, you're gonna get energy from it. But thinking about the volume, is your stomach full? Because yes, for example, we look at oil, fat in general, right? For every gram of fat is 9 calories in comparison to carbs and protein, which are 4 calories per gram. So that automatically, if you're frying a lot of your food, you're frying food, the oil, right? The volume in your stomach is not going to take up that much volume, but you're getting the calories. So you might be eating a lot of calories, quote unquote, a lot of calories. Well, it is a lot of calories in comparison, like obviously the size. And when you're doing that, you're not going to be getting the nutritional benefit that you would get from something that is less calories, but a lot more nutrient dense. So being mindful of how much, like you have to take data. Like if you're not tracking data, like I don't know how you're in a caloric deficit if you're not tracking data. This person's name is Sharvin, I believe, Sharvin. So that's a question from Sharvin. It should be over the screen here. I'll block out their email and whatnot, but that's their name. It's a good question. It is a good question, but it's, like I said, it's overlooked. So I'm actually about to run and get some food right now. So let's talk about it while we go and get some food. Why don't we? All right, so check this out. Like almost everybody who initially reaches out, they always say, yo man, but I've tried everything, Irv. Everything I've tried. And my response to them is, do you have proof and data to show that you've actually tried it? And more often than not, what do you think the answer is? Nah, man. So how do you know something works or didn't work if you don't have proof or data? Good question, right? Now people think, yo, but that's so much work. I gotta track, I gotta count, Now think about that, right? Think about that. What's more complicated? Trying to like start over and over and over and over again, wasting so much time and effort, or just taking a couple weeks to sit down and actually figure out your numbers? Which one makes more sense? Which one sounds more complicated, more complex? So if you don't have have data, how are you going to know? So right here, I don't drink milk, so anytime I go to Starbucks or any place that like sells coffee, I either put oat milk or almond milk, and it tastes good, trust me. But I don't think I can actually record here, mainly because of the wind and I don't have the dead cat thing. So let me pause it for 1 second and see if I can hear. So yes, like I was saying, after working with a good amount of people, one thing that I realized is far more people are worried about the speed of getting there rather than the accuracy. And that's a problem, right? Because if you're not taking the time to actually designate what will actually get me there, right? You're not going to. And you're not going to know what's working. Something might be working phenomenal, but because you don't have data, guess what's going to happen? You'll never be able to duplicate it. And if you get lucky and end up, getting to that result, you're not going to know how. So if you lose it, you won't know how to get it back. And it will take you probably far more time to get there than it would if you actually like track the data. So being a calisthenics athlete, you're expending a lot of energy, right? It's high volume. We're burning a lot of calories. So of course, if like I forgot his name, but the one who submitted the main question here, he doesn't have energy. He's like, yo, I'm in a caloric deficit. Hold on. And I don't have energy. Now, yes, like that's I agree. I would be like astonished if you said, yeah, I don't know like what my data is, and I feel energized. And if you don't really understand already, like what do my numbers look like, generally, like you don't have to consistently do it for the rest of your life. You have to generally know, especially as you're getting started. So like I said, as a calisthenics athlete, if you're expending a lot of energy, you have to know like, okay, how am I going to replenish this and how much do I actually need to intake to, either get to the level where I'm in a deficit enough to hit my goal if I'm trying to lose weight, get shredded, or do I need to be in a surplus? Am I within that range? And if you're not counting, there's no way you're going to know. Like I'm not going to say it's impossible, but why put yourself through that? Why? So here's a general rule to remember. As you're beginning, right, and if you want to be in a deficit, over 8 to 10 week period, you should be decreasing 200 to 300 calories, right, daily. So I just wanted to stop real quick for a second. When I say daily, I don't mean every single day you decrease another 200, 300, right? I mean from the total number that you have, 2,500. If you already counted and generally speaking, it's 2,500 that you're taking in, what you want to do now, you want to, maybe not even 300 the first day in the deficit. Maybe the first day in the deficit, 150 to 200, and do that for about 2 weeks. See how you feel. See if you're, and that's so little, right? That's not a lot. But I'm just trying to get you to understand that the decrease needs to be minor, and you do it for a period of time. That's why it's so important to track. You do it for 2 weeks. You're like, okay, I've been in a deficit for 2 weeks at this number. I'm not saying every single day you take away 200 calories, 300 calories. No. Then you'll be down to zero. But when I was listening back, I'm like, maybe people will have a little bit, they'll be like, what, 200, 300 every day I decrease? No. So before we move on, I just wanted to jump in here and say that I don't mean every single day. I mean for like a period of time, a couple weeks, decrease by 300 and see what happens. You're going to get lean. Like obviously I'm going to continue here in a second, and you're going to hear me talk about, be aware of your macronutrient portion sizes. But like I said, you have to decrease progressively. So let's go ahead and get back in there. I just wanted to clarify that. I don't mean every single day you take away 200 to 300 calories. I mean like throughout the period of like a couple of weeks, every day. When I meant daily, like daily, you should be in a deficit of roughly that number. Let's get back into it. It's complicated. Why? Because there's no like for one person is going to be different for another. Like if you live in a climate where like it's warm all year round, like tropical, and you walk a lot, and things like that, the numbers are going to be different. So yes, I just tried to give like a general number, but I just want you to understand the principle, the concept of it has to be a progressive reduction. It can't be like the total amount that you have to decrease to get to that goal. You can't do it all at once. Like yes, your body's not gonna adapt that quickly. Like you just have to understand that an adaptation has to take place. And if you just do it so quickly, you're gonna burn out. Like it doesn't make sense. Like why would you do that? And like I'm not trying to like say it in a way where like, yo, you're stupid if you don't know that. I'm just trying to generate the awareness so you understand it doesn't make sense to just rapidly decrease as fast as you can. It does not make sense. Like, yes, will it work? Obviously, because once again, if you're in a caloric deficit, that's what will happen. But we're thinking about like longevity. And yes, I'm not saying like it's a bad thing to want to be lean, but when I say longevity, like stop trying to do it in like 3 weeks. Like stop trying to even do it in a month. Like take the time. So progressively decreasing, like if you're accustomed to a certain number, decrease by 200 first. Like see how you feel, see how you look. Do it for a couple weeks, like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Look, okay, I'm going to decrease every meal. For the entire day, I'm going to decrease by 200 calories. So you have to know generally what it is that you're taking in to know if you're hitting that number. So if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah, so like that's a little rant right there. But I hope we understand. I forgot his name, but it should be on the screen. It will pop up here. It's a very good question, and I think a lot of people overlook it, but it's super important to understand that because you don't want to waste time. Like, I don't like to waste time. I'm sure y'all got a lot of great things that you could be doing with your time, so don't waste time, right? So I'm going to be doing videos like this, like with the amount of questions I get, I could do a video every day, right? So I'm going to do, I'm just going to Sharvin, that's his name. So I'm just probably gonna record like a whole bunch of these. I'm gonna swipe through right now, and even like so Marquise, what he said was consistency in learning how the nutrients work. You see, so it's like that's probably the main thing. Honestly, like the number one thing above everything is people always ask about consistency. Like that is the number one thing, and that's why I have the free consistency masterclass. If you didn't go through that, then obviously you're not that concerned about being consistent, right? So if you didn't, go ahead and do that. The link will be either in the comment section or in the bio. Everything you need to know about becoming consistent is in that masterclass. I guarantee you. Like I don't want to say it's a secret because it's not. Like it's kind of common sense because once you go through it, you're gonna be like I know that. It's gonna be like that, right? But there's a lot of like little things that it's so simple that people overlook it, and it's so simple that they think that can't be what will keep me consistent. But go through that masterclass, I guarantee you. So you know how nutrients work. Obviously, we know the gist of that. But I'll go in more depth with his video, later on. So I'm about to eat my food. And yeah, so look, if this video was helpful, like give me some feedback in the comment section below. If you have questions, go ahead and share it, and I'll answer your questions just like this, right? So did you learn something today? Do you understand how a caloric deficit works? Like the way you get lean is to be in a caloric deficit, but also proportioning your macronutrients in a way where it achieves that goal. Because if you're yes, you could be in a deficit, but if your macronutrients are not proportioned, then you could be losing weight, yes, but then guess what will happen? If they're off balance, then you could be getting skinny fat. If your protein intake is low compared to all the other macronutrients, then and you already don't have a sufficient amount of lean muscle mass, then it's going to be So that is it for now. Health is wealth. Get money. Remember, look, we're always warming up. And if you're here, you already know that. So if it was helpful, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Busy professionals. As we get older, we have bigger responsibilities. There's certain things we cannot give up. Like we have to go to work. We can't say, all right, you know what? I really need to take care of my fitness. I'm going to quit my job and work out. Got to be realistic. That's not going to pay the bill. So it's very important to understand how to fit it into your schedule and not make it a dominant part of your life, which you're able to navigate now. So talking about as far as the planning, since we're still talking about diet, let's just wrap that part up. meal planning. You plan ahead. You get your meals situated. Not the day, not the morning you have to eat. You already know what you're going to eat before then. How helpful is that? And how do you go about actually doing that?
Okay, so what I would usually do is I usually plan my meals out the beginning of the week, which for me is Sunday. So on Sunday I'll come in, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, what do I really want to eat? Um, and then I think about it. I mainly base my meals off of like I guess a high protein intake. So I try to keep my carbs low, try to keep my fats low to a minimum, and then I try to keep my protein high. So a lot of the time, for lunch or dinner, I'm either having fish or chicken. Um, and for breakfast, I'm either eating boiled eggs, or I might make an egg salad sandwich, or I make tuna salad sandwich. So I try to keep something light. I normally don't snack throughout the day. I don't really have time to snack throughout the day. So it's really when I get that initial time to sit down, I'll have breakfast. And then if I catch a couple minutes throughout work, I might, eat my fish with a side of greens or something. And then when I come home, right after my workout, I might eat chicken with some greens. And then if I do need to drink something, maybe a cup of water, or maybe a protein shake on top of that. But I think when it comes to planning the meals, I focus more on, I guess, repetition. So for me, I would more than likely eat the same thing. I kind of just condition myself to eat the same thing every day. Once I figure out what the macros is, it's like, let me not try to go off of that, because once I hit a certain number, it's like, okay, cool, I can hit this every day, that I know that within this week, like say, for example, I plan and I'm in a deficit of calories for the day, or I'm a deficit of, the carbs for the day. I know that these meals specifically are keeping me in that deficit. So I'll more than likely stick to it throughout the week, because I know even though I might get tired of eating it, I know that it's giving me the nutritional value I need, but it's also keeping me in the deficit to where even if I do happen to go off and maybe drink a cup of juice or something, it's not going to hurt me totally. So to give me a little room to breathe just in case.
And initially, right? Because initially you weren't in a deficit. You were eating however you were accustomed to eating. How challenging is it now? I'm sure initially when you got into the deficit, per our conversation earlier on, you felt a little bit, you felt more hungry. You felt hungrier during those periods as you were beginning. How would you say that transition is between when you started, as far as being in the deficit, and now? Do you struggle to maintain that deficit plus the workouts and XYZ? How are you navigating that?
This might sound a little cliche, but I believe that most of those things in the beginning, it is a mental thing. A lot of people would see something that they've never seen before and think, oh, this seems very impossible. It seems like, how do people do that? Like, naturally, you'd see that fit person and think, how do they maintain that shape? And you think about what they eat. Like, you might see somebody eating a salad or something like that, and you think that's all they eat. That's how to maintain their figure. But I've realized that when you incorporate all those other things, you could kind of eat whatever you want in a sense. So yeah, in the beginning, I was eating what I wanted, but I didn't really understand what it is that I was taking in. So I was in I forgot the opposite of a deficit, but obviously I was in a surplus.
Yeah, surplus. Yeah.
I was in a surplus of things, but when it came to me having to necessarily maybe cut back, it just came down to, if I want to be full or if I want to feel content with what I eat, cut back on the bad things and incorporate more of the good things. So I can eat a little bit more of this and it won't do my body as bad as if I was eating maybe a burger and fries, as opposed to maybe like a chicken sandwich. So I kind of try to flip it like that. So yeah, at first it was initially hard that first 2 weeks, because I didn't really know in terms of meal planning where to kind of take it. But then as time went on and I had time to sit here and plan my meals out and think about, okay, cool, what can I put with this? So that way this would get me through the day. And when I come home, I still have the energy and the drive and the desire to work out, regardless of whatever time I come home, like what will work better for me. And obviously it took a while to kind of test out certain meals and certain things. Absolutely. And even certain times that I'll eat during the day. Like at first I try to space it out every 3 to 4 hours, but I'm like, that might not work, because that's going to cause me to eat more. And I might end up eating things I shouldn't be eating. So I try to take in more wholesome meals. So in the morning, I would say like I might eat like a bowl of oatmeal, with some bananas or something, and that would kind of keep it going for a really long time. And I probably wouldn't have to eat my next meal till maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then at this point, if I do eat something, this might be a small snack prior, like about an hour and a half before I'd work out, come home, work out. And then after I'm done working out, is either a protein shake or something like a small little something just to kind of keep me going through the night.